coming in. Yeah, flex, I just wanna win. Yeah, LABB, who we running with. Yeah, 2233, I'm on 10 again.
Hey, what's up? This is Elo Speaks back again with another video. So I wanted to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James this season. So far, this has been a horrible season for the Los Angeles Lakers moving forward. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. But again, I'm sick and tired of their obnoxious, eager, pathetic fan base, specifically the LeBron James fanboys in the media. And you know who I'm talking about. I don't have to say any names anymore, so it's kind of obvious. I'm just sick and tired of them ballyhooing about the Lakers. The Lakers are the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. They're the only team where they could be sub 500 and still get talked about as if they're a top 4 seed in the West. So far, they're like they're like 10th in the West right now. Like, it's pathetic right now. Yeah, they're number 10 in the West. They just lost to the Pelicans the other day, giving up a 23-point lead after LeBron James was going off in the first half, almost dropping 25 points, etc. I understand he did tweak his ankle, and that was a tough injury, but I don't care about that because, like those fanboys said, LeBron James Iron Man, he's built through that. He's battled through that time and time again. This is not his first time. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the excuse narrative. I don't want to hear about the teammates narrative. I don't want to hear about the front office narrative. I don't want to hear no excuses on that. Majority of everything that's going on right now with the Lakers is LeBron James' fault. Nobody wants to say that, but that's the truth. When it comes to the front office management, I'm pretty sure they have to go through LeBron James and say, yo, we want this player, we want this player, we want that player. How do you feel about that? And he has to co-sign about it. I understand he said no to the Buddy Hield trade, and he greenlit the Russell Westbrook trade, and that's 100% his fault. And then they punished him for that by making no moves in the trade deadline before trying to get rid of Russ because there was going to be no point. And then they don't want to give up a first round pick in year 2027 when LeBron James is going to be long gone. So I understand them making that decision. But overall, this whole situation, disaster of the season, it falls on LeBron James' fault. And because of it, LeBron James has decided after the All-Star break that since I can't contend for a title, I'm gonna go on a whim and just score as much points as I can, try to break Kareem records, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scoring records. I'm gonna try to win the scoring title. I'm gonna go get mine. That's what LeBron James is on right now. He's trying to masquerade that in a facade that he's winning, but all in all, he's doing what's best for him, and he's just, going to get his. And I have no problem with that, but don't act like, oh, I'm mad about losing. I want to win with my teammates, etc. All that BS. I don't want to hear none of that because all in all, you put your teammates in a precarious situation where they're in the 10th seed, barely in the play-in tournament, and now they're struggling right now to keep afloat water just to be in the play-in tournament. So the San Antonio Spurs are right behind the Los Angeles Lakers' ass right now in terms of trying to take that 10th seed away. And the Lakers have a tough outing ahead of them in terms of schedule. And then on top of that, the Spurs have a lesser tough schedule ahead of them. So right now, the Los Angeles Lakers play the Mavericks, which is a losable game. They play the Jazz, which is a losable game. Then they play the Pelicans, which should be a winnable game for the Lakers. But I can see them losing that game too. They play the Denver Nuggets, which they'll lose that game. They're going to play the Suns, which they'll lose that game. And they're going to play the Warriors, where I could possibly see them losing that game. But that depends if Curry comes back or not. Then they play the Thunder, which should be a winnable game. And then their last game of the season is against the Denver Nuggets, which they will lose that game. I don't see them making the play-in tournament, to be honest. Since LeBron James is crying about his ankle injury and saying how bad it is, then it'll be best if he just hang it up for the season. But knowing how narcissistic LeBron is, I think he's just gonna try to see if he can win. He can suck it up, try to see if he can win the scoring title. If they lose, so be it. If they win, that's great. Then he could probably squeak in the play-in tournament and try to see if they can make a playoff run and get knocked off in the first round again. But I still want to reiterate this point again. This is all LeBron James' fault because of everything that's transpired with the roster moves that's been happening since the beginning of the offseason once they got Russell Westbrook and everything else. Then after that, that precipitated to the team's play in poor chemistry, poor defensive execution, and poor leadership on LeBron James' part. And that's the disaster that you have moving forward. You got a bunch of old players on a roster that their primes left them an hour ago. You got a bad point guard in Russell Westbrook that doesn't execute great in a half-court set. And on top of that, you guys are not playing defense. And that all stands with LeBron James because he's not playing defense either. And he hasn't been playing defense for a couple of years now. But now it's being heightened to the degree because now there's other players that's not playing defense because of this old roster. But that's just the way it's moving right now. So again, they're not gonna make I don't think they're gonna make the play-in tournament. They will have to literally win out of all their games, but because of the tough schedule that they're playing right now, I don't see them doing that. Maybe they could probably squeak in, but in order for that to happen, the San Antonio Spurs will have to lose all their games, and maybe the Clippers and Pelicans will have to lose their games, so that way it could guarantee a spot for the Lakers to keep the 9th or the 10th seed, and that way they could be secure. But again, even if they do make the play-in tournament, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? They're not gonna do nothing. They're gonna get knocked off in the first round against the Suns, or they're gonna get knocked off by the Warriors, and they're definitely gonna get knocked off by the Grizzlies. I guarantee that. So even if they do make the play-in tournament, they're not gonna do nothing in the tournament where they're gonna be scared. They said Anthony Davis could come back, and so do you trust Anthony Davis to be healthy the whole playoff series? Knock on wood for him, but do you really trust for him to be healthy? Do you trust Russell Westbrook to make smart decisions in the clutch in high pressurized situations? And LeBron James is dealing with an ankle roll right now, so they're gonna be hobbling into playoffs. So what's next for the Lakers? I say blow it up, release or trade Westbrook. See what you can do there with Anthony Davis, and then see some pieces you can get around LeBron James until he decides to retire or leave. But so far this whole season been a disaster. I don't see it getting better because they don't have any draft capital to trade to get another superstar. And trading for Anthony Davis, you could do that, but you're not gonna get equal return for him. And on top of that, teams are gonna be weird because of his injury-prone history. So you might get lowball, and whenever you're trading a superstar, you don't really get back an equal return. But again, this whole season for the Lakers has been a disaster. I don't see him making the play-in tournament, and part of this LeBron James' fault. He's being a narcissist. He's playing for stats right now. He doesn't care about the season. He doesn't care about winning. He sees that he's not going to win a championship, so he's going for broke. He's getting his numbers up. He's trying to make a pathetic case to pass Michael Jordan by trying to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, win scoring titles, and do all this unnecessary selfish things and by stat padding. But that's just my opinion on the matter. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. It's Ito Speaks out.
Coming in, yeah, flex, I just wanna win, yeah, LABB who we running with, yeah, 2, 2, 3, 3, I'm on 10 again.